Hello class. My name is Philip Anthony Lupardis and today I'm doing an assignment on 4.3 Final Project EDM Plan Overview. When it comes to finalizing and wrapping up the EDM plan, it's going to be a huge and monumental task. Executives and managers are going to have to sit down initially in order to identify KPIs and to also assess the organization's current state of EDM. This process should not take more than 2 weeks, and regardless of the size of the company. The next phase of the EDM is completing the roadmap for PlayStation. There are several things that need to be considered before you start creating the roadmap. PlayStation needs to make sure they have the right team in place and that all the necessary people who are needed to create and execute the EDM roadmap and plan are there. We should not have to hire more than 10 people when it comes to having people for creating the roadmap. Make sure that the employees that we hire for the project can be objective when working on the project, and make sure that the sponsors or CEOs know the benefit of this project. Make sure there are clearly defined rules in order to mitigate any risks on the project, and also to create a type of circuit breaker if the project balloons out of control. PlayStation will need about 30 weeks when it comes to creating and completing the company roadmap. Once the roadmap is completed, then the data warehouse needs to be created in order to start executing the EDM plan. This setup provided above is how PlayStation will set up their servers. Decided to use data marts. Since the company has 27 departments, I believe this setup would help reduce latency and also be more efficient overall for the company. When it comes to staffing plan and creating a budget to get an accurate picture of all the company's needs, would require the work of the entire team. When it comes to hiring people for PlayStation projects in order to build a new EDM system from scratch, it's going to at least take a team of 20 or 30 people in order to complete the project. We're going to need a chief information officer, managers, database administrators, IT who specialize in setting up and running and maintaining server farmers. And we will also probably would have to hire even more people depending if we create our own server farms. I'm talking about maybe not on the scale of Google, but maybe on another video game company, Xbox or Nintendo, where we have to create our own servers, and that we could have to hire more people for construction in building those server farms. We would probably have to build one here in North America and then one somewhere in Asia and probably in Europe also, in order to have a good coverage for all the countries that we support. Overall, I believe the project is going to cost up to somewhere into $20-50 million range, especially if data centers have to be created in various parts of the world, which can even drive up the cost further in the hundreds of millions of dollars depending on what the team decides. There's things that we have to look at when we do budgeting, such as the long-term costs. We have to basically predict the future and try to foresee what things we're going to have to pay in the future, what we have to pay up front in terms of short-term costs. We also have to look at the cost of equipment and services. We're going to have to buy licenses for everybody. Or we could buy a set number of license and have like 500 users or 600 users, where the IT department, they can set it up for each employee that requires that software. And then we also have overhead costs. And then we need to also pay our employees and look at human resources cost. Once the database has been created and completed is when the team starts creating dimensional models in order to create the necessary snowflake model for each department in order to be handed to the ETL developer so that may be programmed and loaded up into the database for use. When discussing the benefits of projects, we need to keep in mind that we won't see a lot of these benefits right away. Up front, there's a huge burden of costs, manpower, and company resources. If a good EDM system is set in place, then over time, that EDM system will literally pay for itself by helping managers gain a more accurate reporting system, and also reduce costs by replacing the old not broken system, but inefficient system which increases the efficiency of the overall company. Well, class, I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I appreciate you for watching, and thank you and goodbye.